Hey, everybody, remember when people said Apple needed to hurry up and step up on their services? Well, I guess they were right. Apple watches sports so that you don't have to. Also, lots of new stuff in just 1 week. And we're only halfway through it. Tonight on the Mac to the Future Livecast, or Mac to the Future Go Livecast. Boy, I screw that up every single week. Hey everybody, it's Wednesday night, so I guess it's the Mac to the Future Go Livecast tonight. Mac to the Future Go. I don't even know why I keep trying to do that, Dave. It's so confusing. How are you, sir?
I am doing great. Welcome back. You were off last week on vacation.
I was, and I was having such an awesome time.
Seemed like with all some of the photos I saw. And you got to go to your football, and you got to go to your football game.
I did, but they lost.
Yeah, well.
They lost the game. And I don't remember if I talked about it, but one of the things I was talking about doing was making a sign to take to the game that said, I drove all the way from DC to see the Orlando Apollos win this game. And I ran out of time before I could make the sign, and now I am so happy that I did not sit there and hold up a big sign. We had great seats, though. I mean, they were running. Well, I mean, we were like just off the 50-yard line, and they were having. It was this weird promotion. I mean, usually in these kinds of cases, they have like a buy one get one free kind of promotion. No. They were still calling it BOGO, buy one, get one, but it was buy two, get two. So, but it was like, hey, check out our buy two, get two BOGO. It's like, wait, maths are hard. Maths are hard in Florida, I guess. That's the only thing I could figure out.
That's right.
Yeah, new math. It was new math. We had a great time. The weird thing was we both got sick. Both Tracy, my wife, and I got sick on this trip. She got sick early on. And as a matter of fact, when we were in North Carolina to visit with some of her relatives, when they found out she was sick, they were like, yeah, we're so happy that you're here, but we're not going to come see you. So we did manage. I mean, my wife is totally into like genealogy and doing lots of stuff about that. So she still had time. So we went to some graveyards. We went to graveyards. There was something about graveyards in each and every stop that we made on this trip. We went to graveyards in North Carolina. When we went to Charleston, there's this weird church that I think was originally opened in the late 1500s. I mean, it's super old. And it's got all these graves. And so we went and looked at those. And then we went on a ghost tour in Charleston at this old jail, so, and then we get to St. Augustine.
I was at that old jail.
Oh, did you go on the ghost tour?
Yeah. Well, I didn't go on. I did a carriage. We did a carriage ride around town, but I saw I saw the old jail. That was cool. That's a cool place.
Yeah. Well, and it's actually not owned by the city anymore. It's privately owned.
Yeah. It's like a museum now.
Sort of, yeah. But it was fun. I mean, we've gone on lots of ghost tours, and I mean, they're fun. They just are. And yeah, and the thing is, something my mother always used to say, which was never let the truth get in the way of a good story. And when you go on these ghost tours, typically the stories that they're telling you are about, half based in fact, and the other half is based on, the what's left after a cow finishes digesting his meal. But it's still, I mean, you take it with a grain of salt and you take it for what it is and for what it's supposed to be, which is fun. So, okay, but it was still fun. And by the time we were going to St. Augustine, whatever she had, I had gotten. So as she was starting to get better, I was starting to get worse. So we did some stuff in St. Augustine. We didn't do it like any ghost tours or anything in St. Augustine because we've done those before.
Yeah.
And we go to Orlando. We got together with some of my family. We went to the football game Saturday night, which was a blast. They had almost 20,000 people there, which honestly, for a brand new startup league, that's not bad. That's not bad. The stadium was real nice. And the drive home was pretty frantic. We went all the way from Orlando to the northern part of North Carolina on Sunday, which was 8 to 9 hours, or it would have been 8 to 9 hours. It ended up being 10 to 11 hours because at the same time we were coming home was when Bike Week was wrapping up in Daytona. So all these bikes are headed north, and there'd be these weird slowdowns where everything would just stop for no reason in the middle of nowhere. And you're like, there's no accidents. There's no police. There's nothing in the road. Just traffic would just stop. And you're not near any exits with lots of stuff. It's just people had things to do and they're just clogging up the roads. But we had a really great time on our vacation, which is really the important part. And I have now talked for about 8 minutes on my vacation down to South Florida.
Let's go talk about some technology because Apple was insanely active this week. So
they were, and it's not just Apple. Not just Apple was active this week.
Them and many others.
Let's start off with Google. Google plays games. And I actually, before I screw this up almost every single week. There we go. Google plays games. This is a story from the Cult of Mac. Google has announced a service to play games over the internet, not just with a single user, but potentially many, many users all at the same time. The service is called Stadia, I'm not sure. And if it works as announced, we'll stream top quality games through the Chrome browser over a Chromecast device, Windows and Mac PCs, as well as Android and iOS devices. Google claims 4K output at 60 frames a second, assuming that your device will support that and that you have the necessary bandwidth. Now, they're saying other than paying for the service, you don't need a whole lot of other stuff, but they do have a controller for the service that, you don't technically need it to play, but it sounds like it would be essential for the best experience. The controller actually won't connect to the device that you're playing games on, but will connect via Wi-Fi to your network, reducing at least one bottleneck for potential latency. A few games have been announced so far, like Assassin's Creed and Doom Eternal. Both the Unreal and Unity game engines will be supported for developers to create games on, and the real test will be if established developers like EA and some of the other big names will jump on board. Now, I couldn't find any pricing or a date for release, but those will probably come up pretty quick. What do you think?
Yeah, it looks like a platform that's gonna give some competition to Xbox and to the PlayStation, and I know Microsoft's gonna be ramping up and releasing a new Xbox pretty soon here. So, but for it being web based and also opening up to all platforms, it's pretty nifty. But here's the thing. The problem with services like Steam, Xbox Live, and the PlayStation Network, and all these other services is, number one, the price of admission is pretty high. You have to have an Xbox S or T or One or whatever they're calling it, a PS4. I don't know if you have to have like the PS4 Pro or whatever their latest console is. Plus, of course, all of the controllers and storage space within the devices and all the rest of that. And it's not dissimilar to when you buy games for a Mac or you buy games for a PC. Oh. You have to get the version of the game that's set up for the hardware that the developers want you to play it on. Right. Whereas something like this, all you need is Chrome. If you have Chrome on your device, or if they release some kind of client that will essentially be Chrome on your device, you'll be able to play any of the games that's set up for this service.
Yeah, and it says even the cool thing of having handoffs. So you decide you're playing on your iPhone or your Android device, you can hand it off back to your Mac or back to your PC if you want to. And when like it says, when the game action gets intense. So well, being able to play on your mobile device is pretty cool. I think gaming has just gone gangbusters on both the platforms, Android and iOS, and it's going to continue on. And this is another way of Google exploring some other options, seeing how they can make some money on gaming.
Well, honestly, if they can get this to work as advertised, things, why would people go out and buy an Xbox? Why would they go out and buy a Sony PlayStation when they can just use, you can get like that little USB stick, a Chromecast, stick that into your TV set, and then you're good to go. Other than maybe buying their controller, which would make for a better experience. This for Google, this is huge, and it's unfortunate. I think I would be happier with a service like this if it was from someone other than Google or someone other than Microsoft or Sony or even Apple, or it just seems like there was an opportunity for a new technology company to come in and do something like this. Unfortunately, the kinds of money that's required to start a service like this, I guess, would actually take something like a Google or an Apple or a Microsoft to be able to just throw the billions of dollars that would be required for something like this.
Right. And but that's the thing. You got to have a company like Google to do something like this. But Adam just mentioned in the chat room here is 4K rendering for millions of players. Think about how much heat that's going to generate in the data center. But Google's probably got that infrastructure already in place, so they can easily handle this type of push when they go in on it, I would think. But it's you're not going to find any other big players like this to do this. I don't think right now. Sony and Microsoft aren't going to do it because they're just stepping on their feet from what they already have. So,
well, it's this is not dissimilar to. If you think about it, this isn't dissimilar to what Google is trying to do with Chromebooks, where they're trying to lower the barrier for entry for basic computing, except in the case of Chromebooks, the fact that you have to always basically be online for the devices to be really useful is what kind of makes it a non-starter for me.
Yeah, now we'll see.
But this is different. If you can just pick up your phone, whether it's Android or an iPhone, or even eventually, if this takes off, of course they'll come out with some little portable device that you can hook up to their network with. This could completely outshine anything they've done with Android. And the difference here is so far Google controls the entire ball of wax, as compared to Android, which they kind of let, slip out of their hands.
True. Yeah, no, I think it's going to just be interesting to see where it goes. I'm not much of a gamer, so I can't really comment too much on it beyond that, but it definitely seems interesting. Just this day and age, the way technology has gone, I think it could be easily take off.
Well, I love gaming. Unfortunately, because, games and Macs have never really gotten along that well, mostly because developers just wouldn't release them for the Macs. Right. But I have some Steam games, and it's mostly along the lines of Left 4 Dead and Half-Life and basically old school games that have been around for a really, really long time. Yeah. Mostly because there's just not that many new games for the Mac. But if Google can come out with a service that works well cross-platform, and of course also depending on how much they think they're going to charge for it, I would definitely be on board with this.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. That's for sure.
Okay.
Be curious what the pricing is going to be.
Yeah, that's usually what it comes down to. You ready for the next one?
Let's do it.
Let's go. Everyone likes sports ball. Sports ball rules. This is a story from Sports Illustrated. In a room buried deep in an Apple facility, a room officially called the Theremin Room, but is unofficially called the Sports Ball Room. Many Apple employees and more than twice as many monitors keep track of every sport being televised that people might find interesting, even curling. The theory is that through notifications that users set up, or even potentially as part of a service, Apple will let you know when something exciting is happening on a team or a sport you enjoy and offer a one-click access to get there. It's not perfect, of course, with rights to teams and leagues so hopelessly fragmented, but it is a start. According to the powers that be, unlike other streaming services, Apple doesn't want to delve into exclusivity since the market has too many barriers for most major sports or leagues. I would love to see Apple get behind something like the Alliance of American Football. Something new that's coming in that they can throw money at and have exclusive rights to rebroadcast the games. Not so much so that you've got to have an Apple device to see AAF games, because that would be an automatic fail.
Right.
But to just stand behind a league like this, so that people could have access to the games through their Apple devices, as well as through free services like the networks that are already set up for it.
Right. Well, with this big announcement coming next Monday, obviously we'll be talking about all the equipment that just was released this week in a minute, but definitely services oriented. This is what Apple is looking to strive towards. Sports is a big piece of entertainment out there. No matter what you do, you're going to be looking at sports all the time. I kind of like that. The fact that it shows something like a sports event that might excite you, because I'm the type that would just flip around channels a lot of times, and although my local sports and then my local sports is what I really would follow, and my hockey and baseball, football. We have all the sports here in Chicago. So
I was gonna say they have those in Chicago, right?
All the four big sports are going, and then some. So yeah, of course they do. Hey,
what's the matter with you? What are you saying?
Are 4 points out of the last playoff spot. But
let me talk a bit about the Miami Dolphins.
Yeah. So this is definitely going to be interesting, and they've got Apple employees that are really pushing, thriving on this. This is going to be interesting. I can't wait to hear what Apple announces with these services for video. This sports piece of it is going to be just pretty exciting if they can bring something like this and you'd be able to just, hey, look, this is what's happening right now, and wow, that's cool. So,
but what would be really cool would be you get notifications that something interesting just happened in some team or sport that you like, but the problem is when you hit that link, whatever that interesting thing was has typically already happened. But if
they have a tape delay,
that's what I was saying. Basically, the link would be a set moment in time that when you click on it, it would go to like just before whatever happened that was so cool was about to happen. And you start to watch it, and it's not like that little thing happens and then you don't see anything else after that. Basically, if you stuck with that, you would see the rest of whatever that event was, assuming that Apple could get the rebroadcast rights. And really, this is what it comes down to. This is why it is so hard
to see sports on television, especially local sports, because so many teams rely so heavily on a physical presence of fans at these games that if you don't get a sellout for the Chicago Bulls or the White Sox or the Cubs or the Bears or hockey team, Blackhawks, thank you. or your local arena football league team or your eventual alliance of all of these teams. If you don't have the rebroadcast rights, if those events, those sporting events don't fill the stands, well, then they don't show them on TV locally.
Well, I'll tell you what, with broadcasting rights, that's a good point with the Chicago Cubs. The Chicago Cubs were on WGN Channel 9 for 70 years.
Yeah. And even before it was television.
Exactly.
Because there was WGN radio.
It was on WGN radio forever. They've been off WGN radio for the last few years. Well, since the Ricketts family bought that team, they're business people, so they're trying to put a good product out there. And the Cubs are probably one of the biggest following around this country that there is ever. So the Ricketts family decided to start their own broadcast network for next year. They teamed up with Sinclair Broadcasting, which I know is a very very reformed outfit. But already people bellyaching about the fact that we were able to watch free TV all these years and watch the baseball games. Well, now they're probably not going to be able to, because it's just like the other big markets like Los Angeles and New York. The Yankees in New York have the YES network, and in Los Angeles they have the Spectrum just took their network over. So it really is all going to be based on are they going to allow these sports teams to allow them to be able to rebroadcast a lot of this stuff. I mean, YouTube TV, they started that up with Google. They've got the rights to do that stuff. So is Apple going to go down that same road? If YouTube was able to do it, why can't Apple do it? And so it's definitely going to be.
It comes down to money. It's always about money.
But
and there's nothing wrong with wanting money for your content. Okay,
no, not at all.
This isn't one of those. Well, I like you were saying earlier. Well, I was always able to watch the games on TV for free. Okay, well, we're at the point now where even if you are able to fill the stadiums 100% of the time, 100% of the time, you're still not able to pay off all of the expenses that is related to a large sports team, which is why Major League Baseball, the National Football League, MLS Soccer, the National Hockey League, all of these large leagues that everybody knows about, gets these big television contracts, because that's how they keep it going. And again, and for as much as people hate to talk about it, the people that own these teams, they deserve to make a profit from them. And because otherwise, but that's a dirty word these days. No. You can't talk about somebody making a profit before, you get someone jumping down your throat about it. It's like, if you're not making a profit from some expenditure that you're using, then what is the point of it? What is the point? I mean, you can't just say, well, you're doing it because you want to provide a quality baseball team for your neighborhood, for your city, for whatever. It always has to come back down to money.
Oh, no question. I mean, and then that's where Apple comes into play here. They've got the money. They want to start up these services. I just have this feeling once we hear about the announcements next week, they've got some networks lined up to do these to provide this content. So it's
let's hope so.
It's definitely. I hope they do too. It's gonna be really interesting to see where all the services are, because I'll tell you that if they can get this going, I mean, my gosh, we got Apple behind this. I mean, that's pretty big. Stock's going to go up,
and we'll all be talking about sports ball.
Yeah, exactly.
Sports ball is awesome. The Sports Ball League, SBL. Okay. It has been. This has
quite
been
a whirlwind week.
Yeah, I have been using Apple devices. It is only Wednesday. I've been using Apple devices since 1987. And
you got a few years on, man, that one.
Well, this has been the craziest week that I have ever seen.
Of all the years I've been following Apple, I've never seen them do this.
Yeah.
This is not something a Steve Jobs run company would have been doing. I can tell you that.
Steve Jobs would have gotten everyone together in some huge theater and said, okay, let's talk about iPads. Let's talk about Macs. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about, and in the course of 2 hours, they would have released all of this stuff. But times have changed. Monday morning, we wake up and I don't remember what time it was that it was announced. We had a new iPad Air, and who would have thought that 4 years after, not so much even the Air, but 4 years after the last time it got updated, that we would have a new iPad Mini.
Yeah.
I'm
pretty excited about that one.
I have the first gen iPad Pro, the 12.9-inch iPad Pro.
I had that one originally.
And I really like it.
Yeah.
But I'm looking at this iPad Mini, and I don't know whether or not this is something that I would be interested in. It would certainly take up a lot less room in my bag. I mean, I've got a relatively small bag that I took on my vacation. I didn't take a laptop. I mean, I took my iPad Pro, I had my Apple Watch, and I had my phone, my iPhone. And that covered all of the stuff that I needed to do while I was on vacation. And the crazy thing was, I didn't tell my wife this. I actually had a Audio-Technica ATR 2100 mic in the bag because I didn't know.
You are a podcasting obsessive man.
Well, it would have been one of those things where it was Saturday and, my wife and I wouldn't have had anything set up. And all of a sudden I would have gotten a call from you or Gaz or Tim or somebody going, oh my God, Guy, we need someone else to be on this podcast, blah, 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 blah. It's like, dun, 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 okay.
I have the mic.
Super podcast man to the rescue. And I would have been there and I would have been good to go. Unfortunately, apparently nobody really needed super podcast man to come in on Saturday to help them do podcasts. So it stayed right in the bag. That's right where it stayed.
And you didn't even do the MyMac Podcast, MyMac.com podcast, did you?
No, not for 2 weeks. And the crazy thing is last weekend was the actual 10th anniversary for Gaz and I doing the MyMac.com podcast. It was in March 18th or 19th of 2009 when it was episode 285. We did our first podcast together. And I wasn't here. I was down in Florida playing putt-putt golf on Saturday.
I'll miss next
week. How crazy is that?
But the mini is I'm very happy. There's a couple people in the chat room are saying things too, like they are happy they kept the line. That's great. A12 processor, which is awesome. It's got good fast speed. The Retina display, pencil support, which is huge
for both of them, for both the iPad Air and the Mini.
Then all of a sudden they quote unquote re-released the iPad Air. It was 4 years ago when the original Air came out.
Yeah.
And they just kept the brand name, which is unusual for Apple. And
what do you think this does to the iPad? Because I mean, they have right now they've got two iPad Pros. They got the 12.9 and the 10.5 iPad Pros.
Right.
They now have a 10.5 iPad Air. And then don't they also have the 9.7-inch iPad?
Yeah, and you know what? If they're smart, they keep that in the line. I mean, you can get it on Amazon right now for $249 for a 32 gig iPad. I guarantee you that schools and education and a lot of other folks that don't have as much of an opportunity to be able to buy iPads, they don't need that major horsepower. That I bet that iPad is going to just sell like crazy. I mean, and I think that's what Apple's thinking is, in my opinion, because that's always been the challenge with the iPads, is just the affordability. I mean, people not being able to afford an iPad. Because they started, look at what the $499 for an Air, $499 for a for an iPad Mini, $599 for a Pro. So you got a nice sweet spot with that. I mean, the price on Apple is $329, but like I said, you can find it as cheap as $249 on Amazon. So, I think they're gonna keep. They're gonna keep that.
Does the iPad have the smart connector, the 9.7?
No, it doesn't. That's the only thing it doesn't have is that you can't use the smart keyboard, whereas the Air and I don't know if the Mini, they don't have a keyboard. No,
the Mini does not. The Mini you'd have to get a Bluetooth keyboard.
So the iPad Air does work with it, but across all the lines, it's the same pencil, the Pencil 1, the original pencil, but it also works with that Logitech Crayon too, that Crayon pencil, which is $40 less than the Apple Pencil. So
about half price.
Yeah, exactly. So you have options. So that's what people are looking for in the iPad line. So I think that was smart on Apple's part by doing that. Like I said, I played around with one of those 9.7-inch iPads, and they're fine. I mean,
that's got the A12.
Anybody that asked me, I said, it's perfectly fine, perfectly capable iPad. I mean, it doesn't have as good of a display, but do you really need that? I mean, it's not critical. So, I mean, that was Monday alone. That was huge announcement.
That was like one day. And I don't think anyone thought that there would be anything after that. That this was like the lull before the storm of the big announcements for next week. Yeah, then Tuesday, and just like clockwork, Tuesday follows Monday, and they do kind of a soft release for these new crazy iMacs. Both the 21.5 and the 27-inch models have been updated with you can get up to a 6-core i5 with the 21.5-inch model, and up to 8 cores, 8-core i9 with the 27-inch. And, and of course it still has the crappy Fusion drives,
my point on the 27-inch, their base price is $17.99. To get a 27-inch iMac, the Fusion drive is not the greatest, but the base price on that 27-inch was $2,500. So they dropped the price they dropped the price dramatically.
Oh, is that the 4-core 4.2 gigahertz model, or is that?
I think it's. I was going to go on Apple's website.
3.6.
I thought it was a 3.0. Well, let me look real quick.
Okay. Well, you know what? Here's the thing. All right, the whole deal about processor speed is no longer really relevant. What's relevant now is cores. How many cores does it have? And is the software that you're using capable of using multiple cores?
Across the whole line is 6 cores. The base model, $17.99, is a 3.0 gigahertz, 6-core, 8th generation Intel i5 processor.
And that's $17.99.
$17.99. I mean, you get but you only get 8 gigs of RAM, but the RAM is upgradable, easy to upgrade too, because it just has. Well,
I know it is for the 27-inch. I don't know if that's true for the 21.5-inch. But they still have the rear access door in the 27, at least in the graphics that I saw for the 27-inch. So you can go to OWC or Amazon or whoever and upgrade the RAM yourself. And of course, it'll be just as easy as it's always been to upgrade your internal storage.
Yeah, unfortunately,
don't upgrade your internal storage on an iMac unless you really know what you're doing.
Yeah, you got to take the screen off, and no, don't do it.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to do that.
So I think that's a steal. Honestly, $17.99 if you want a good, decent iMac, but a 27-inch Retina display, 5K display, really? $17.99?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a great deal.
Honestly, even the 4K displays with the 21.5 inch, that's still crazy. That's still a fantastic monitor.
Too. Yeah.
And don't forget, all of these models come with AMD Radeon Pro 500X processors with either 4 gigabytes or 8 gigabytes of video RAM. I mean, these are now, you know, we're not going to sit here and compare it to the iMac Pro with its 8 to 12 Xeon processors. No. But this is incredible technology, especially coming from Apple, because Apple is, and it's not like these are cheap, you know, and even at these prices, these are still expensive computers. You can go, if you want a Windows box, you can find one with these same specs that's going to cost you probably less, a lot less. Right. However, they're not Macs. They're not, it's not the Mac OS. And if I was interested in running Windows, I would have switched a long time ago, but I'm not. Anyway, so that was Tuesday. So today. Today. Go ahead.
Today was AirPods. Everybody's been talking about that like forever. But I'm not excited about the AirPods. I mean,
we already have them.
We're using them right now. I mean, okay, they added the H1 chip, so now Hey You works now.
Yeah.
Okay, so what? And it has more talk time, and the battery life is a little better. Beyond that, there's no difference. Oh yeah, by the way, you can get a wireless case so you can wirelessly charge it for $80.
Yeah. So it doesn't come with that case?
No, it comes with the wired case for $159, like the price has been. But if you want,
that's right, for another $40.
If you buy new ones,
right.
For the new ones, it's $159. You can buy wired, or $199. You could buy wireless charging. But if you already have the existing ones, yes, and then if you have the existing ones like we have, you could buy a case for it for $80, $79.99. Do I need to buy a wireless case for this? No, I'm always going to be plugging in something.
Well, you say that. Well, I mean, here's the whole thing about wireless charging. It's not wireless. It's not wireless. You still have a cable that's connected. It's just the actual device that's getting charged isn't connected by a cable, but what it is that you're charging it to is. So I don't really see the point. I don't understand it. And apparently we have some people whose comments aren't showing up.
Damon's not showing up. But all we saw was him saying hello. We welcome you, Damon. Thanks for being here. But I'm not sure why he's not showing up in the feed.
It's got to have something. Well, it's not anything we're doing. Okay, it's not like before we started the show. It's like, okay, well, we've seen Damon's like original remarks. Now we can ban him. So because nobody wants to see Damon's remarks.
Fair Marcus.
Yeah. Marcus.
Yeah.
What the
bleep? All right. Okay. So, like I said, I'm not excited about the AirPods, but I am excited about something that we think is going to get announced tomorrow as we record this. An iPod Touch. I believe.
Are you really excited about new iPod Touches? I mean, how many? It's been a long time.
It's been a long time, but I think there's a market out there for people who don't want to spend the money on an iPhone and want to have the similar experience with apps and a smaller device. It's going to be interesting to see what they do with it. I would venture to say they're going to put probably an A12 processor in it, if not an A11. So bumping up the processing speed.
Well, I don't know if they could put an A12 and still keep the same form factor.
Yeah. Or maybe at least A11.
Because they're pretty thin. You look at all right, here's
I know you have one, so.
Yeah, this is what I use to record Guy's Daily Drive in my car. And this is like super thin. I don't think that they could put an A12.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, right now it's an A8, so it's anything is going to be a better increase in processing than what it has now. So, no, I'm not going over excited about it beyond I'm going to go out and run out and buy one. No, I've got plenty of what I'd have to do it with, but I think it's cool that the Apple is still recognizing how important that device is, specifically for music too. Because like I said, not everybody wants an iPhone. I mean, not everybody's in the iPhone ecosystem. They don't want it.
And this is actually the very last device that has the name iPod.
Exactly. That too.
There's no other devices. Maybe it's a trademark thing. You know, that they'll lose the trademark if they don't have some device out there that actually says iPad or iPod.
I'm sure they own that for life. The other
like Disney and Mickey Mouse.
Oh yeah, the other interesting thing was with the AirPower mat that inadvertently showed up as a picture with the AirPods, and they and shortly thereafter they removed the picture because.
Wait, say that again.
The AirPower mat, that we've been waiting for wireless charging.
I thought you said AirPower Max, and I was like, what?
No,
Matt.
The mat. Yeah, they inadvertently put a picture of it with the AirPods, and shortly thereafter, the picture got taken down. So, that's probably
Friday.
another thing. That might be Friday. Yeah, let's keep it rolling here. So I mean, that's pretty much all it's left as far as these device upgrades. And the event's definitely going to be focused on services. They'll spend a good hour and a half on.
Well, you've got
discussing that.
You've got the new alleged TV service. You have the new alleged news app for newspapers and magazines, subscription services. Right. And you've got, unless, here's the thing, if Apple is going to do all these different types of services, I can't see it being super successful because we already have all of these things with other people's services. With Hulu and Netflix, we've already got TV and movie support. There's already other companies that do magazine and newspapers online, as well as most major magazines and newspapers having their own online presence. Unless Apple can bring some kind of bundled service where you pay $40 a month, and not only do you get all of whatever the TV and movie service is, you also get at least part of the news and magazine service, and whatever else it is, as well as Apple Music and everything else that Apple is offering for streamable digital content. And if they can bring that to people at a reasonable price, and I know we're talking about Apple here, and reasonable price and Apple have not always gone hand in hand. But in some cases, like some of the announcements that we've seen this week, an iPad Air that is super capable at half the price of what it was before. Right. iPad minis coming back, these crazy fast iMacs, even the AirPods.
Yeah, it's tiring.
It is kind of tiring. So we'll see what they're able to do with that, because the announcement is next Tuesday?
Monday,
next Monday. Okay.
Yeah, they're doing it Monday, which is good for me because I'm on vacation Tuesday. So.
Oh, nice. But Apple's you also have, when we have all the laptops haven't seen any love this week.
No,
come on, let's just throw it all in a blender. Let's just throw it all in a blender, put it on frappe, and see what comes out the other end. That's what I say.
So you know what I say? We talk about Mac stock.
Oh, is that happening again this year? I'm kidding.
Oh yeah, that thing called Mac stock.
Mac stock, the Mac stock conference and expo, which is going to be on July 27th and 28th.
27th, 28th. Yep.
In Woodstock, McHenry County College in Woodstock, Illinois, or very close to Woodstock, Illinois. This is the fourth year for it. This is the fourth year.
This is the fifth year.
Is this the fifth year?
Yes.
God, I'm getting so old, I can't even remember when things happen anymore. Okay. Well, fifth year. I'm going to assume that you're right, because you're
15,
much younger than
16,
I am.
17, 18.
15, 16, 17, 18, 19. And so then next year would be 6th and 21. Okay, I'll take your... All right, fifth year for the MacStock Conference and Expo. And a lot of the things that they introduced last year that were very successful, they're doing again this year. The Midwest Mac Mingle, they're going to do that again at the hotel with Barry Falk, with the two different game rooms, one with, that's family friendly with the kids. And then
that adult one was unbelievable.
There's the other room where we'll have some. Now, I participated in that. I don't know if you were in there.
I was
participating.
I was making my rounds to all three places. So
yeah, I think I kind of upped the adult level of not so much in maturity. Not in maturity. Not in maturity. Let's get that straight right away. But just in some of the stuff that, because basically people were playing these games, and then my answer would come up, and they'd all be like, "What?"
That's right. Yeah.
And then, of course, Tim and I did the MyMac quiz, which I this may come as a shock to you, David, but I love performing. I know.
Yeah, I'm
who would have guessed that? And
I like presenting. So
yeah, and Tim and I work really well together on a live stage. We've done it for years, and Tim. Well, and the thing with Tim is he knows how to work a crowd, how to get them excited about something. And then I come out and I'm like this 6'6" bozo the clown that has been fed some kind of Ritalin, and is just like going off the rails all over the place. And it just somehow or another it just works, and we have a really, really good time with it. So we'll be doing that again this year. I have I'll send it to you. I have an ad worked out that I'm going to film. And this is going to be separate because they're also having the MacStock Film Festival. This is new for this year, where you basically take Apple devices, film whatever it is you want to film. I think they have a time limit of like 2 to 4 minutes, something like that, so that we can get as many in as we possibly can, and really kind of show off your creativity, which I believe is the theme this year. Create. So, and this is on top. This is a 2-day conference. This is on top of top-notch speakers. This is on top of two. Oh yeah, and to forget all that, you get 2 lunches. And they're very good too. They are very, very good. Somehow or another, the staff at the McHenry County College has, for the last 4 years, on both Saturday and Sunday, well, except for the first year. But every single time that they've put out some kind of spread, everyone has walked away just going, I can't believe that this delicious food came from this. And this is included. Yeah, this is this is an all-inclusive package. Whether you go for the 2-day package or just single-day packages, lunch is included. Some of the stuff that Mike Potter always gets from his various sources that has MacStock branding on it. Stuff from the vendors that will be attending the conference. And this is all just, it's so much fun. This for people who have never attended a Macworld Expo, and I know I say this almost every single year, if you've never gone to a Macworld Expo in San Francisco, when that was a thing. R.I.P. It's gone forever. But MacStock Conference and Expo has the flavor of it without all of the iPhone case makers jamming the aisles of the expo, because unfortunately that's kind of what it came down to the last few years. And then bunch of iPhone case makers.
Then David Sparks and crew are going to be there for the Mac Power users. They're going to be recording their 500th episode, right, live from MacStock, which I'm excited to watch that.
Cool.
And 2-day week pass right now is weekend pass, early bird pricing $179. How do you beat that? I mean, it just for everything you're going to get.
you get they'll for 2-day pass holders. I believe there's going to be a Friday night get together.
Yep.
There's the Saturday night Mac Mingle. There's of course lunch for those 2 days. All of the great speakers. The MyMac quiz, the Mac Mingle. You know, I mean, there is so much that's going to be going on. Oh, and don't forget all the deeper dives. Because everybody has like 20 minutes, except for Allison Sheridan, who always manages to snag an extra session. But for people that want to know a little bit more about whatever the topic is that you were hearing, a lot of the speakers will be doing deeper dives in some of the breakout rooms. However, even if a speaker doesn't have a breakout room, all you have to do is go and find them and ask them questions. And they will probably talk your ear off on whatever subject it was that they were talking about. Yep. So I'm so excited about it. I mean, I get excited for this every single year. And the last couple of years, I've actually driven it. I drove my Kia Soul that I just gotten a couple of weeks before all the way out to Chicago.
I drove it there too. You know, it took me forever.
Yeah, I mean, God, it's
all of an hour.
Yeah, it's like an hour.
Well, no, actually, I'll stay at my my family's summer home, and it'll be 10 minutes. But
yeah, okay, family summer home. Yeah, okay.
It's on a lake. Yeah.
Of course, it's on a lake. Why have a summer home that's not on a lake? If it's not on a lake, it's not worth having. Okay,
yeah,
that's how it works.
Right. It is.
All right. So that's we'll talk more about the MacStock Conference and Expo. Probably not in this great of detail and for this long in the weeks coming, but we will be talking about it as it gets closer.
We got excited.
We did. We really did. You know, of course, not all of us have summer lake houses.
It's not I don't own it, so I'm good. I just go there.
So what's the difference there, Dave? Between not owning it. Well, I don't own it. But I can go there whenever I want.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, God.
Okay.
Anyway, I think it's time to wrap this up.
Yeah, I think it is too. So thanks to everyone who has stayed with us this evening. We really, really do appreciate it. Yes. If you'd like to get a hold of Dave, he's going to tell you all about the other stuff that he does right now.
Yes, In Touch with iOS, my podcast at intouchwithios.com. I just did an episode last week with Chuck Joyner, our pal, and we just talked about our top 10 iOS apps. It was a great listen. I got Kelly Gomont coming on this coming week. And check that out, as well as for some more fun, I do a horse racing podcast with my good friend Steve. And then, of course, he's got the URL incorrect. I see XX.
I do. Yeah, you probably should not go to that URL.
Yeah, no, it's off the charts horseracing.com.
Yeah, let me fix that while I'm thinking about it, because I think that would be a really bad idea. It would be.
I don't know if that exists or not, but
don't go there. Do not go there. You go to this one.
Both of them you can find in iTunes. You can find them in your Apple Podcasts app on your iOS device, and however you listen to podcasts. They're both out there. Thanks I appreciate you having me on. As always, we always have a blast.
We do. Okay. Wait, what am I doing here?
It's your turn.
I know. Wait, I have to turn that off. Oh, it's a blank screen. There we go. Okay. Sorry about that, folks. If you would like to get a hold of me, I know it's here someplace. No, that's not it. There it is. There it is right there. All you have to do is send me an email and say, Guy, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Guy at mymac.com. You can also find me on the Twitters, MacParrot or VertShark. I have a website, vertshark.com. It has links to all my stuff. All my stuff is right over there. And wait, why isn't this?
Why isn't this not working? There. Now it's working. I don't know why it stopped. I have all of these shortcuts set up, and I hit the button, and sometimes things just don't happen the way I expect them to. I don't know why. If you would like to help support some of the things I do, you can become a Patreon. Go to patreon.com/MacParrot. Or if you'd like to do a one-time donation, you can go to coffee.com, ko-fi.com/MacParrot. It is greatly appreciated. All the people who have supported me in the past. Thank you. Thank you all so very, very... Wait. Okay. All right. You know what? Things are just... to wrap it up. It is time to wrap it up. I don't know why things aren't working the way I expect them to. But that's usually a good sign that I'm really, really tired. So thanks again to everyone who has watched the Mac to the Future Go livecast for tonight, and we'll be doing it again next week, and we hope to see you there. David, say goodbye, David.
Goodbye. Good night. You won't see me next week, but good night.
Oh, where are you going?
Vacation.
Oh, that's right. Some people just like to go on vacation, I guess.
No, look at Warren. He isn't here.
I know he's down in Disney, I think.
Well, good night.
But, yeah, we got to go. Bye. Bye.
Bye.